Hey everybody, Sneaky here. Today I want to do a video on all the game mechanics in Hood, Outlaws, and Legends that we know of so far. But before I get into that, I want to just clear the air on a few errors that I made on my last video. Number one, I said that the game would not be available on Steam. I meant to say Switch. I pre-ordered it on Steam, so there we go. And I forgot to cover Took's ultimate ability, and it's basically you can scan nearby enemies and make them or tag them and make them available for viewing through walls for you and your teammates. And we know we can do up to 10 at least, 10 enemies in one scan. Based on that Xbox achievement page, I can link that in the description so you can go over all the Xbox achievements. There's a lot of insights you can get from that, and it also, the ability also heals nearby teammates as well, nearby allies. So there we have it. Also, I wanted to quickly share for you, there was a lot of questions about the Hood Outlaws and Legends closed beta or just even beta access. The link is not working, and the publishers did mention their server, the company that's hosting the site, had a fire, and I'll put that on the screen right now. Right here, this is it. I'll link it. Not much to say really about that, but yeah, we had a fire. Okay, so now I want to discuss all the game mechanics of Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. I believe it can be broken down into two different categories: gameplay and progression. So the first set of gameplay, I think that's most important to talk about now, is just the objectives, right? Once again, we touched on that on my previous video, and it's going to be that key and the vault, the winching, and the extraction. So we know that the key can be pickpocketed off of the sheriff. It's possible that we could take it from the sheriff with brute force, because they're just through reading between the lines on the articles that we read online, and I'll link those. We know that there are two abilities that can stun the sheriff, and that again is the ranger's ultimate and farsight, and the big guy, was his name there, the brawler's gear explosive. So I think that the best strategy would be to pickpocket the sheriff, because you'll remain concealed and won't attract as much attention. And once you get that key, you're going to be you're going to have a heads-up display notification of the general area of the vault. So it's going to be in the bottom right corner above your minimap, and it's going to show, for example, if you're on Graveyard, it's going to say Cemetery first floor, for example. And you're going to know the floor, but you're not going to know the exact area. And that's awesome, because it means that you have to search for it, and that also gives the rivals the opportunity to find that place before you, if they're savvy enough. So it's not just a huge advantage if you pickpocket the key first. You know, it gives the opposing team an opportunity to set up some strategy as well. And it's very important to note that the rivals are going to be notified when the key has been snatched or pickpocketed. They're going to know, okay. I don't know if they're going to know the area. I think there was an article that said the rivals don't know where the location of the vault is, so they will obviously have to do some scouring as well. And once the vault room has been found, it's going to be heavily guarded by a number of knights, and we'll get into the different types of AI and different guards, but it's not going to be very easy to get in there. And in one of the articles, they stated one of the better strategies will be to distract the guards, to get them to go away so that you can assassinate them and then get into the vault room. And we know that there are mechanics that you can throw rocks or loose arrows into an area and divert the attention of the AI. We know that exists, so that's what comes to mind. and you can assassinate them from behind. It'll be a lot easier. You get into the room. As far as entering and entering rooms, I believe there are two methods: pickpocketing and kicking the door open. And the kicking, I think we've seen in the video here, and in a video that was playing. And oh god, my cat is playing with some toys. I'll try to ignore that. And yeah, so once you get in, you're going to, have to take the treasure chest out of the whatever it's in there, and it's going to be they're calling it winching, and that's going to take some time, maybe, I don't know, 5 to 15 seconds. There is a clip of it right there, and we know that whoever's winching is going to be vulnerable because they can't defend themselves. And I think the brawler can winch faster. We know that he can carry the chest after it's been winched. He can carry it faster. Remember, the vault is very heavy, right? So he's winching. I believe we've seen on a video clip from Outpost that 2 people can winch at once. And I assume that might be able to make the winching process faster. So keep a lookout keep your mind open for those types of things as we start playing the game in the first few months or so, when everyone's still trying to figure it out. Try to see if we can get 2 people to winch at the same time faster, or try to get a brawler on your team, so because he has a lot of map advantages, right? And just 1 second here. Okay, I'm back. So sorry about that. And the after the winching is done and you're carrying that chest, I'm pretty sure the map is going to go on to high alert, and that simply means that all of the guards are on high alert, and the portcullis gates are closed, and knights start coming out of the woodworks, and the game just gets more difficult. And that's I think it's called lockdown, actually. And well, no, I think lockdown is when you get seen with that chest. That's an important mechanic. If somebody sees you with the chest, so in addition to it being high alert, the map can go on to lockdown, I believe. And if an AI sees you carrying that vault, then they will attack you on sight. The knights, so the knights are the higher tiered guards, they will come at you, and the sheriff will be aware of this, and he's going to come at you as well. And he's just a big guy that's just walking quickly to you, so give you a chance to react, because he's going to kill you in one shot, right? And it gets difficult, obviously, because during this lockdown period there's going to be a lot of noise, and again, I don't know, maybe there's bells ringing or there's screaming. We'll have to hear, see what it's like when it comes out, and the rival team will most definitely know the location where you're at, and it'll be difficult. So you don't want to get caught. That's why stealth is a plays a big role in this game. There's been a lot of people asking, or even just YouTube comments stating that this game is going to be just a race to it's going to be like a team deathmatch, basically, and that they're worried, or they think that stealth is not going to play a big role. Once people are getting good at the game, they're just going to start dodging and rolling and just killing. And I don't think that's the case. I mean, because these we'll get into the AI and the AI scaling progression, but stealth has so many advantages, so, like avoiding lockdown, like I just said. So and then we don't know much about extraction, meaning taking the process of getting that vault off of the map. That's yet to be seen. I'll update you as information comes in. So the process seems, for what it seems so far, fairly simple. Once you get the chest, there might be another progression animation that you need to go through to get the chest off the map and then eventually win the game, but we don't know for now. And speaking of stealth, that's the next gameplay mechanic that I wanted to discuss. How do I start here? Again, there's not much to know, but we know that we have only seen a few gameplay videos of how that works, but we know one thing that we know is if the sheriff does see you, he's going to chase you until you break line of sight. So that's a stealth aspect of stealth, line of sight, which is great. And there could be opportunities to hide behind terrains and different objects and possibly trees. We did see a gameplay footage of the ranger behind some object, and he was given the option, I think it was like Xbox A, button A, to vault over that. So that could be a line of sight mechanic. And there might be an indication of when you are in stealth, kind of like in Skyrim or other Elder Scrolls games. There's like a little eye that then it's closed and it opens up and indicate if your your level of awareness to the other AI. There might be some mechanic like that, because we know that once we break line of sight from the sheriff, we'll have to go back into stealth mode or be invisible or undetectable to the AI before he stops chasing us. So that's one aspect. Another aspect of stealth is having the ability, like we said, to throw objects to divert attention. That can only be done in stealth. We know that stealth gives us the opportunity to assassinate. All outlaws except for Hunter Marianne can only assassinate from behind, and we can assassinate AI and rivals, or the PvP as well. It's not just the AI. But of course, we've read from the Discord that the publisher said it's actually not as easy as it seems. It's quite difficult to assassinate the real players, and we assume it'll be something like Hunt Showdown. I never played it, but there's just a lot of sound. All the interaction with the terrain makes a lot of noise, and so it's kind of like real life in that sense. It's not easy, so that's a very welcomed feature. I think that's it. I may come back to stealth if something comes up, but I think they haven't really discussed that too much. The videos that have come out haven't really displayed stealth too much, so I think it's pretty straightforward. The next game mechanic is damage. So we know that the melee characters take less physical damage than the ranged characters by a little bit. And I don't know how much, what the difference is. I think I had the impression it was like 25% or so. We'll have to wait and see. And in addition to that, the melee characters have the option to do heavy and light attacks. So basically that's going to be the brawler and the mystic. They have that option. We know that, let's pull up the website here, and we can look at something interesting here. The mystic with his flail, he has a couple of options: swing the flail to create space, or launch forward to perform a powerful impact. So that's indicating that there are two options. Well, the powerful impact will stun enemies for a short duration to create openings for others. And I think the brawler is pretty straightforward. Oh, they do have two options here. So the brawler's hammer can deliver wide-ranging sweeps or a powerful overhead smash. Whereas the ranger and the hunter, they don't have this heavy and light, but of course they have their own mechanic where you can do the ranger is precise and potent over long distances, charge arrows for increased power, or quick fire within a limited range. And the hunter is obviously a single bolt shot or charge for a multi-shot. Okay, so let's go back to the cinematic here. So there's also another mechanic in terms of when we're talking about combat. It's stamina, and the stamina is drained when you try to block with the melee characters, and the ranged characters don't have a block, but they have a dodge or a roll, and we've seen gameplay of that. I think if you missed it, you can look at the Ranger gameplay trailer, and you can see that he's dodging. So that consumes stamina. Also, I believe sprinting consumes stamina. I think I've seen one video where sprinting was consuming it, and another clip where it wasn't. So I'm not sure how reliable the gameplay clips are. And also, in terms of combat mechanics, also I think it's interesting. It's important to note that the damage of the ranged character is quite weak. We've seen a clip where the ranger, in that same ranger gameplay trailer, he was in a small area fighting a guard, and he was doing just like hits, just punching him, and it was taking up like 10%, 15% of his health, and then he eventually just shot him in the face with the arrow. So that's something to keep in mind, is that you may not want to go toe to toe with those physical guys. You might want to just run or get some strategy, get another friend in there, because one on one, if you're up close with the physical guys, it seems like it's going to be a big power gap. Okay. Another mechanic that I want to discuss with the combat is the projectiles. I was quite curious about this myself. You start the game with, you have a limited amount of projectiles, and I don't think they regenerate automatically. I think you start with around 7 or 8, possibly 8 projectiles. And so this goes for, when I'm talking about projectiles, I'm talking about the arrows for the ranger, and I'm talking about the bolts for the hunter. You recharge, well, when you shoot an arrow, and I'm assuming bow as well, but it hasn't been clarified. When you shoot that, it has a chance to break. I think it's like a flat percentage. There have been suggestions made where I think someone suggested that they should have a higher chance and a lower chance of breaking depending on the type of armor that the enemy is wearing. And I think Jelly Frush, one of the Focus Home Interactive community managers, said, I think there is a mechanic like that, so we'll have to wait and see. That would be pretty cool. And it has a chance to break on impact. If it doesn't break, then you can recollect your projectile off of the enemy. And I believe assassinating enemies as well. AI for sure, not sure, I assume for rivals as well. Assassinating will recoup, I believe, 1 ammo, 1 projectile. So that's how that works. That also reinforces the idea that running and gunning type of mentality that some people fear is not going to work, because if you just take shots and you're out of ammo as a ranged character, you're going to be screwed. So I'm not sure. I think so far it seems like the ranged characters might be at a disadvantage. I don't know. We'll see. I guess maybe high like high risk, high reward type of deal. So as far as the difficulty actually of the characters, there was one forum post where on the Focus Home Interactive, maybe he shouldn't be talking about this, but he did say that there was a difficulty, not mechanic, but sort of indicator, and it was displayed as stars, and that some characters were more kind of like, I don't think League of Legends shows anymore, but they used to have like, they still have it, how difficult a character is. Is this a beginner type of character? Is it a more advanced one? So Took was a 3-star, so high difficulty, and he didn't, there was no mention of the other characters. So we know that there's a mechanic where, not necessarily a mechanic, but just, little heads up of how difficult a player is. That's going to be good for the new people coming in that are not as advanced as us. They're going to, and I kind of wish that Took was lower difficulty, because we know a lot of people want to play the Ranger, and if they see that Took is, or possibly even the Brawler is, very advanced level characters, they may want to, even more people may want to go for the Ranger, even the Hunter. So, but it's all good. It's not a big deal. What other mechanics here? I guess I'll talk about the AI and the AI progression. There's been a lot of, just like suggestions and criticisms about the difficulty of the AI. And it's a fair point. A lot of people have suggested that the there should be modes where the AI are more difficult for the higher level players. A lot of people don't like the idea that the AI's difficulty, like the guards basically, their difficulty doesn't change, and they say that over time, and it's true, they'll become easy to kill, they'll become predictable and whatnot. And before anyone even thought to mention this, I'm pretty sure there's an article where, the Andrew Willens discussed with another interviewer that they have this AI scaling progression where basically the majority of the guards are one-hit kills. They're easy to kill, and they're not too difficult. Maybe in numbers, we've seen some clips where you can get ganged up by guards and you can be in a pickle. But, they're plentiful and they're just there and you kill them. And then at least the thing I like about that is even if you lose, or for the players that are new to the game, they still have a sense of accomplishment, like they're progressing at the game, like they can actually get kills. Unlike, say, I keep bringing up League of Legends, but I think it's just something I have a lot of knowledge of. Sometimes you play a PvP game and the only thing you can kill are like minion creeps, and that's not very fun. You just get killed, so at least you kind of feel like, hey, I'm killing something. And then as the game progresses, you start to approach the knights, the more advanced mid-level, mid-tier, AI or guards. They're the same ones that are protecting the sheriff. So you're approaching these guys more. You're definitely going to start seeing them. Well, you have to kill them because we know those knights are going to be surrounding the sheriff. So as you approach critical objectives, we're starting to get to interact with more difficult AIs. And then once we get to the vault room, we know that there are going to be some knights outside of that room as well, another big challenge. And then once the match goes into high alert and even potentially lockdown, there are going to be some knights as well. So the majority of the enemies are going to be guards, but during key moments, it'll get more difficult, and these knights aren't just going to be everywhere, and it's going to be like whatever. So that's, I think, their way of trying to prevent staleness in the game, where the AI have varying difficulties, and that's really appreciated. I don't know if they're ever going to add a mode where AI gets more difficult. Doesn't seem like it's up their alley. And this game was really influenced by Hunt Showdown a lot, and I don't think Hunt Showdown had progressed like different levels of AI. I don't know if they'll come, but who knows? Anything could happen in the future. Another thing to mention about the AI is that there are 40 plus AIs roaming the map. So that's pretty nice. I've asked a question if they respawn, and I don't think they wanted to answer that. I'll ask that again to see if I can get an answer. And the AI have a patrol path, unique to each map, obviously. And they also mentioned that the predictability of the AI they're gonna attempt to make that random, so it's not like you can memorize the path that they take. Of course, I think the sheriff will have a path that you can memorize. You don't even have to memorize it. On the mini map, you can see big yellow highlighted line of where he's going to be, and that's how you're going to know where. You're not going to know where the sheriff is, but you're going to know the path of where he is. And I'm pretty sure the path will encompass the majority of the map from the gameplay that we've seen, and that would also make sense too, because we also assume that the opposing teams start on opposite ends of the map to make the game fair. So there we have it with the AI and the AI scaling progression. There's a couple of other gameplay mechanics to talk about too, some interactive ones, just real quick. There's a climbing rope, as he's probably seen in some videos, where the rope is bound up on somewhere really high, and the ranger can shoot that down, and that will allow you to get to objectives faster and take alternative routes to avoid guards. Because you get some experience by killing guards, but really, for me at least, I just want to win the game, kill some people, win the game. I'm not like a huge, I guess some co-op PvE guys may like this, but I don't want to spend 30 minutes just killing guards that are easy to kill. So taking alternative path and skipping those guards is a real nice idea. And the question was asked today by someone in the Discord: can the hunter shoot down the climbing rope? The answer was no. I assumed she could, but hey, all the more reason to have. That's something cool, about the hunter. About the ranger. I know people are always going to have him on a team anyways. He's going to be like the first pick, second pick, but it's nice to know that he has something specific as well. Kind of sucks for the hunter mains, but that's all good. Another mechanic that you can interact with is a portcullis gate. Only the brawler is able to lift the gate for a limited time to allow his teammates to slide under or just run under. I think the gate, drops or lowers over time, and because there was a Xbox achievement for sliding under the portcullis gate last minute, so that's awesome. The benefits of being able to raise that portcullis gate is obviously having more, just getting ease of use, getting to the objectives easier, and also if you were alerted by some guards and they start ringing the bell and making noise, and above your minimap you see in red high alert. It's also outlined the minimap too in red outline. They're gonna those portcullis gates are gonna be closed, and if you want to get out and you have a brawler on your team, that's the way to get out. And hopefully going back into stealth will break the high alert. And if you don't have a brawler on your team, they said you're probably gonna have to find some tunnels or something that are probably more cumbersome to traverse. So really important to get a brawler. I hope you pick a brawler, okay? Because I don't want like 4 rangers on the team. And let's get, just move through the map easily. And then the last interactive game mechanic that we know of, that I can think of as well, is opening doors. Like I mentioned before, I think you can pickpocket them. We've seen Hunter gameplay trailer, she's pickpocketing a door, I think. And then we've seen another one where the ranger kicks it open. So again, probably kicking it open is going to be loud, and if there are some AI guards on the other side, we might go into high alert. So there are pros and cons. Definitely, a lot of questions are asked about whether stealth is forced, and it's not. We can see it's not. There are benefits to be stealthy as much as possible, but you don't have to. Maybe your strategy involves not being stealthy and being quick and loud and just getting the job done. All the power to you, right? Okay, so respawn mechanic and capture point mechanic. Respawn, okay, when you die, you respawn. It's that simple. And someone did mention on some public forum that when you die, the respawn timer is increased continually. And I don't know if it's exponential, but it's a good mechanic to have because it prevents the game from dragging on for over 30 minutes. So that's really awesome. And the respawn the capture point is something we saw in the video, where we saw one where the hunter slides into this circle and this capture point, and the capture points are quite close to the objectives. And if you have a capture point, when your teammates die, they can choose to respawn at those locations. I believe there are 3 capture points, A, B, and C on the minimap. And if you have a capture point, the enemy can recapture or take over those points as well. So if you don't have any capture points, like at the beginning of the game, and you die, you most likely just have the option to respawn at your home spawn, which is going to be on one corner of the map, and it's going to take a while to get to the objective. So definitely don't want to die. It's not really a mechanic, but a lot of questions about how many outlaws can be on one team. They haven't said specifically. They said more than 1, but they haven't said more than 2. So I'm just going to assume that you can have 4 rangers or 4 anything on a team. So I think it's pretty obvious that they should remove that once more outlaws start coming into the game. I don't see any and if they do have a ranked mode, we'll get into that in speculation later on. They should remove that as well, because in ranked mode, we want people to be on an even playing field as much as possible. So there we go for respawns and characters. The game modes. So we have when you start the game, they've said there's going to be a tutorial, which is great. And then they're going to have a training mode where you can invite your friends or be in solo, and it's not going to be representative of the real game, but there will be AI on the map, no other real players, and the AIs are not going to be going for objectives. They'll just be on the map roaming. So this practice mode will be perfect for learning the maps and min-maxing any parts of the game and finding out good sneaky spots. That's what I'm going to be doing, and maybe understanding how the pathing works and just getting used to the the AI and the different maps. I mean, one thing that hasn't been discussed, but much at least, or at all, was that we've seen gameplay of some of the guards with crossbows, right? Like, how is that going to work? What's the best way to? What's the timing for dodging that? What are the best objects to hide behind? If a guard is shooting at you, right? So, training, definitely an appreciated mode. And the other main mode is 4v4 heist, the game mode that we've been discussing this whole video and that everyone understands. Once again, there is no single play, there's no story mode. At launch, there's not going to be, as we know so far, things can change. We're still 2 months away. May 10th, May 7th, early access. There is going to be no co-op versus PvE chilling mode. This is a competitive game, and if you don't like that, well, you can dip, okay? So that's it. As far as the maps, so there are 5 maps, and they're going to be varying in size and in the way they work. Some will have a lot of hiding places, and some will be have open areas. And in case you didn't see my other video, I'm going to just quickly go back to the maps. This is the Focus Home Interactive main website, and these are the different maps. Graveyard, a lot of places to hide, smaller map, very bright if you're not hidden. Marshland, a lot of open places, some areas, some fog, but a lot of open areas. Coastal, a lot of hiding spots, but in between the different fortresses or structures, you can be exposed, so you gotta really strategize that. Citadel hasn't been discussed too much. It's very dark, a lot of hiding spots. Might be where the hunter excels. And Outpost, really not much, haven't been really much discussed about this. I know we can maybe get through these fences, a lot of tunnels and ways to sneak through, right? Alternative routes, so something that all maps will have. All right, so what else about maps? Some people have been asking for, like, they really want big maps, but again, you want to be able to be sneaky, but you don't want to have to go through a whole match where you didn't, run into the enemies at all. And if the map's too big as well, the game's going to last so long. It's going to be a lot of time spent traveling after dying, or looking for things. So you don't want the maps to be overly big. Like, some people want this to be some sort of sandbox thing or something, and it's like this is like mainly a game where you're trying to a testament of your skill. Like, this is a skill-based competitive game. This is not like an adventure game, so it's not that. If they make huge maps, like, okay, that's something to look into at that time, but I don't think they'll do that. Another thing about the maps is that they'll have there's going to be more verticalness to them. They'll have multiple floors, like we said earlier with the vault. The vault can be on numerous different floors, and you're going to know which floor it's on, but there could be up to 3 buildings per map where so if you didn't capture if you didn't pickpocket the key off the sheriff and you're on that rival team and you don't have nothing, I don't think you're going to know where the vault room is. So there are 3 buildings on each map, up to 3, maybe there's 2 on some, where you can go searching, and you got to look on multiple floors. So there's definitely a big advantage to getting the first pickpocket, because a lot of people have been saying, oh, why not just let the enemy pickpocket and then just kill them after? Like, if it was me, I think I want to get that key quickly, because then I can have an advantage of where the vault is, where the other people are just looking. But if you give out your position because you're being loud, then you just lost that advantage of knowing which building the key is in. Again, something that might come up is, can you pick up the key from the enemy? Don't know yet. I'll try to figure that out. Like, if you kill an enemy, can you pick up the key from them? We'll try to figure that out. And as far as those buildings, they could be like keeps, garrisons, churches, and there are a range of access points to get to these inside these buildings. So that's really cool. Another mechanic is the scales of justice. So now we're getting into progression here, okay? And this is tying into the replayability factor of the game. So this part of the game, I think we know the least amount, but there's still a lot we can talk about here. So if you win, I believe if you win the game, you're going to get some gold, and the scales of justice gameplay mechanic will appear for you, and it's going to be a scale, and there's two sides to it, and each there'll be 2 pots on each scale, and one scale is going to be for the people, and one pot is going to be for the people, and one pot is going to be for yourself, and you can distribute the gold that you've earned from stealing the vault, the treasure chest. You can just distribute that however you choose, however you like, and if you distribute it more to the people, that'll unlock more aspects of the games. I think like some cosmetics and some perks, and by keeping some for yourself, you have disposable gold to spend on the unlockables. So you have to do both, but it gives players agency to decide how they want to unlock or control their progression, which is a nice feature. So Scales of Justice, if you don't win the game, I don't even know if you get gold. We do know that there are challenges that you can complete, like daily and maybe weekly challenges that reset, and that can earn you gold and experience. So if you lose, all is not lost. The other form of progression is the Forest Hideout. This is a physical lobby where you can invite friends and hang around, I guess. And I think this is where you can interact with those heads-up display and look at your cosmetics and perks. So you're going to be accessing that in the Forest Hideout. And the Forest Hideout also has a rank 2, and that goes up to 10. So I think that when you're giving back to the people, this gives you Hideout rank. So it's not very clear, but we'll know once the game comes out, or we'll actually probably know before the game comes out, because the publishers have said that they plan to release as much information as possible as we get closer to launch, and they said that you will understand much more about the game as we get closer to May 10th. So not to worry there. I know a lot of people are wondering why haven't there been much gameplay or discussions about this. It's coming, guys. They want to build that hype. And they don't want to give us all the details, all the gameplay, and then people are like, oh, cool, and then forget about the game. They want to keep the momentum. So we don't know yet, but more information will come on that, absolutely. And then we also have total experience. I believe you get experience from 100 experience from using your ability, your ultimate, and some experience like maybe 15 or 20 for killing a guard, depending on their level. You get experience, and this adds up to your total experience, which is capped at 100. I don't think there are really any implications to the total level. It's just kind of bragging rights when you're in the lobby. And then we have Outlaw level, where you obviously get experience when you use that particular Outlaw. So there are 2 different progression like mechanics, right? So the Outlaw level goes up. I think it's capped at 10 as well. I'm not sure. And they're separate. So you can, like they said, you can be 83 total level and be 6 or 7 on an Outlaw level. So they're independent. And some of the things that will be unlocked, I guess, with maybe the Forest Hideout will be titles and banners and prestigious cosmetics earned by time invested and skill-based actions. That hasn't been discussed much, but those are there as well. So a lot of people love that idea that, you can have Joe Blow that plays a ton of games. He's shit at the game, but he can't get those cosmetics, the same ones that you can, because you're actually good at the game. Maybe you don't play as much as he does, but you're actually good at the game. You care to, look up these videos and get the, heads up. And you're going to be, rewarded for that. You're going to get some prestigious cosmetics. So that's awesome. I know a lot of people love that. Another form of progression is there's going to be a hidden skill-based matchmaking system set in place. There has been no further details on that. We don't know. And obviously, I'm pretty sure they're going to fine-tune it and maybe add a rank, because there's been a lot of, my boy Razors did a video, and even he was talking about, a lot of the community developments and a lot of clans and people asking about ranked. So I'm sure that's coming, because they're getting so many requests about that. Some more progression is when you're on the map, there are going to be collectible lore, like textiles or pamphlets or something like that, dispersed throughout the map. So I know that this is not a story single player game, but there is still going to be some story that's going to be presented to you throughout your online match against other people. So I personally, I'm not huge into story, but I will probably read them in my spare time and try to understand what's going on behind this game with the state and all that. Okay, and we got trinkets. This was an Xbox achievement where he said, you can complete either. Let me see if I have it here. Yes, I do. Okay, let me show you. Okay, right here. Where was it? I'll put this link in the description as well, so you can check it out. But here we go. Here, 15 gamer score. Steal 25% of the trinkets and steal 100% of the trinkets. I asked a question about that to the publishers, and I didn't get a response. I don't even know what that is. I asked other people. No one seems to know what that is. So there we have it. And one last thing. It's kind of shitty, but last week we found out that there is going to be a region lock, so people in North America are not going to be able to play with people in EU, UK, Oceanic, those areas. So separate. Okay, can't play with them. Me and a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, are going to push to have that upgraded or have that removed, that limitation removed, because that's too bad. A lot of people are making friends internationally online these days through just on the social media. So I mean, it's really awful to have that, but I understand that it's not a perfect world and there are some limitations. They said like synchronization issues and stuff. So I'd rather have a good quality game than to have features forced in because people are crying too loud. So that's one thing, and that's it for the gameplay, game mechanics. There's a few things I want to discuss about speculation. We discussed most of it, but ranked, we don't know, but I think that's going to be coming in the future. A lot of questions about that. I think they're in developing a 6th map because we saw an Xbox achievement. Again, I encourage you guys to go check out that, especially if you're on Xbox. Go check that out so you can get an idea of what's coming up in the game. A 6th map because, even though there's 5 right now, so that's kind of funny. And then there was one article where they discussed the potential, like laughing at the fact that why wouldn't they be working on a 5th Outlaw? So I think they're developing a 5th one right now for you guys who are feeling that 4 is not enough. And also this week, it seems like they're coming out with content every second week, around Monday, Tuesday. It's kind of random which day of the week it is, but every second week they're coming out with new gameplay trailers for Outlaws, and this week there's probably going to be like a new not fan art, but like new artwork that they're going to release on the Discord and maybe on the subreddit. So if you're wondering when the next release is, it's usually every 2 weeks, and as we get closer to launch, they may start increasing what they the frequency of uploads and the content that they're sharing with us. But that's all I want to share with you guys. I hope you liked the video. This is all gameplay mechanics in Hood, Outlaws, and Legends that we know of right now. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.